expecting her again, you say, this morning?
Almost every moment. She has been gone already longer than she intended.
Something has happened to delay her. Some visitors, perhaps?
Highbury gossip, tiresome wretches.
Harry may not consider everybody tiresome that you would. I do not pretend to fix on times or places, but I must tell you that I have good reason to believe your little friend will soon hear of something to her advantage.
Indeed? How so? Of what sort?
Of various sort, I assure you.
Very serious? I can think of but one thing. Who is in love with her? Who makes you their confidant?
To think that Harriet Smith will soon have an offer of marriage, and from a most unexceptional quarter. Robert Martin is the man. Her visit to Abbot Mill this summer seems to have done his business. He is desperately in love and means to marry her.
He is very obliging, but is he sure that Harriet means to marry him?
Well, means to make her an offer then. Will that do? He came to Abbey 2 evenings ago, on purpose to consult me about it. He knows I have a thorough regard for him and all of his family, and I believe considers me as one of his best friends. He came to ask me whether I thought it would be imprudent in him to settle so early, whether I thought her too young, in short, whether I approved his choice altogether. Having some apprehension, perhaps, of her being concerned as in a line of society above him, I was very much pleased with all that he said. I never heard better sense from anyone than Robert Martin. He always speaks to the purpose, open, straightforward, and very well judging. He told me everything, his circumstances and plans, and what they all proposed doing in the event of his marriage. He's an excellent young man, both as son and brother. I had no hesitation in advising him to marry.
Pray, Mr. Knightley, how do you know that Mr. Martin did already speak yesterday?
Certainly. I do not absolutely know it, but it may be inferred. Was not she the whole day with you?
Come, I will tell you something in return for what you have told me. He did speak yesterday, that is, he wrote and was refused.
Then she is a greater simpleton than I ever believed her. What is a foolish girl about?
Oh, to be sure, it is always incomprehensible to a man that a woman should ever refuse an offer of marriage. A man always imagines a woman to be ready for anybody who asks her.
Nonsense! A man does not imagine any such thing. What is the meaning of this? Harriet Smith refused Robert Martin? Madness, if it is so, but I hope you are mistaken.
I saw her answer. Nothing could be clearer.
You saw her answer? You wrote her answer too. Emma, this is your doing. You persuaded her to refuse it.
And if I did, I should not feel that I had done wrong. Mr. Martin is a very respectable young man, but I cannot admit him to be Harriet's equal. And then, rather surprised indeed, he should have ventured to address her. By your account, he does seem to have already had some sculptors. It is a pity that they were ever together.
Not Harriet's equal. No. He is not her equal indeed, for he is as much her superior in sense as in situation. Emma, your infatuation about that girl blinds you. What are Harriet Smith's claims, either of birth, nature, or education, to any connection higher than Robert Martin? She's the natural daughter of nobody who knows whom, with probably no settled provision at all, and certainly no respectable relations. She is known only as a parlor boarder at a common school. She is not a sensible girl, nor a girl of any information. She has been taught nothing useful, and is too young and too simple to have acquired anything herself. At her age, she can have no experience, and with her little wit, is not very likely to ever to have any that can avail her. She is pretty, and she is good-tempered, and that is all.
I cannot help wondering at your knowing so little of Emma as to say such a thing. What? Think a farmer, a good match for my intimate friend, not regret leaving Highbury for the sake of marrying a man who I can never admit as the acquaintance of my own. I wonder if you should think possible for me to have such feelings. I assure you mine are very different. I must think your statement by no means fair. You are not just Harriet's claims. They would be estimated very differently by others as well as myself. Mr. Martin may be the richest of the two, but he is undoubtedly her inferior as to rank in society. The sphere in which she moves is much above his. It would be a degradation.
A degradation to illegitimacy and ignorance. To be married to a respectable, intelligent gentleman farmer?
As to the circumstance of her birth, though in a legal sense she may be called a nobody, it will not hold in my common sense true. She is not to pay for the offense of others, be held in below the level of those whom she has brought up. There can scarcely be a doubt that her father is a gentleman of fortitude. Her allowance is very liberal, nothing more that has ever been grudged by her own improvement or comfort. That she is a gentleman's daughter, indubitable to me. She associates with gentlemen's daughters. No one, I apprehend, will deny she is superior to Mr. Robert Martin.
Whoever might be her parents, whoever may have had the charge of her, it does not appear to have been any part of their plan to introduce her into what you would call good society. After receiving a very indifferent education, she is left in Miss Goddard's hands to shift as she can, to move, in sort, in Miss Goddard's line, to have Miss Goddard's acquaintance. Her friends evidently thought this good enough for her, and it was good enough. She desired nothing better herself. Till you choose to turn her into a friend. Her mind had no distaste for her own set, nor any ambition beyond it. She was as happy as possible with the Martins in the summer. She had no sense of superiority then. If she has it now, you have given it. You have been no friend to Harriet Smith, Emma. Robert Martin would never have proceeded so far if he had not felt so persuaded of her not being disinclined to him. I know him well. He has too much real feeling to address any woman on the haphazard of self-passion. And as to conceit, he is farthest from it of any man I know. Depend upon it, he had encouragement.
You are a very warm friend to Mr. Martin, but, as I said before, you are unjust to Harriet. Harriet's claims to marry are well not so contemptible as you represent them. She is not a clever girl, but she has better sense than you are aware of. She does not deserve to have her understanding spoken of so slightly. Waiving that point, however, supposing her to be, as you describe her, only pretty and good natures, let me tell you that the degree that she possesses, they are not trivial recommendations to the world in general, for she is, in fact, a beautiful girl and must be thought of so by 99 people out of 100, until it appears that men are much more philosophic than the subject of her beauty than they are generally supposed, till they do fall in love with a well-informed mind instead of handsome faces. A girl with such loveliness as Harriet has a certainty of being admired and sought after, of having the power of choosing from among many, consequently a claim to be nice. Her good nature, too, is not so very slight claim, comprehending, as it does, real though sweetness of temper and manner, a very humble opinion of herself, and a great readiness to be pleased with other people. I am very much mistaken if your sex in general would not think such beauty and such temper the highest claims a woman could possess.
Upon my word, Emma, to hear you abusing the reason, you have almost enough to make me think so too. Better be without sense than misapply it as you do.
To be sure, I know that is a feeling of you all. I know that such a girl as Harriet is exactly what every man delights in. What one bewitches his senses and satisfies his judgment. Oh, Harriet, who may pick and choose. Were you yourself ever to marry, she is the very woman for you, and she is at 17, just entering into life, just beginning to be known, and to be wondered at all because she does not accept love at the first offer at love she receives. No, pray let her have time to look about.
I've always thought it very foolish intimacy, though I have kept my thoughts to myself, but I now perceive that it will be a very unfortunate one for Harriet. You will puff her up with such ideas of her own beauty, and of what she has a claim to. In a little while, nobody within her reach will be good enough for her. Vanity working on a weak head produces every sort of mischief. Nothing so easy as for a young lady to raise her expectations too high. Miss Harriet Smith may not find offers of marriage flowing so fast, though she is a very pretty girl. Men of sense, whatever you may choose to say, do not want silly wives. Men of family would not be very fond of connecting themselves with a girl of such obscurity, and most prudent men would be afraid of the inconvenience and disgrace they might be involved in when the mystery of her parentage came to be revealed. Let her marry Robert Martin. She is safe, respectable, and happy forever. But if you encourage her to expect to marry greatly and teach her to be satisfied with nothing less than a man of consequence and larger fortune, she may be a parlor boarder and Miss Goddard's all the rest of her life. Or at least, till she grow desperate and is glad to catch an old writing master's son.
We think so differently on this point, Mr. Knightley, that there can no be use in conveying it. We shall only be making each other more angry. But as to my letting her marry Mr. Martin, it is impossible. She has refused him, and so decidedly, I think, must prevent any second application. She must abide by the evil of having refused him, whatever it may be, as to refuse itself. I will not pretend to say that I might not influence her a little, but I assure you there is very little in me for to do so. His appearance is so much against him, his manner is so bad, that if she ever were disposed to favor him, it is not now. I can imagine that before she had seen anybody superior, she might be tolerant to him. He was the brother of her friends, he took pains to please her, and altogether having seen nobody better, she might not, and while she was at Abbey Mill, finding him disagreeable. But in the case altered now, she knows now what gentlemen really are, and nothing but a gentleman in education and manner has any chance with Harriet.
Arrant nonsense as ever was talked. Robert Martin's manners have sense, sincerity, and good humor to recommend them, and his mind is more gentility than Harriet Smith could understand. Robert Martin has no great loss. If he can but think so, and I hope it will not be long before he does. Your views for Harriet are best known to yourself. But as you make no secret of your love matchmaking, it is fair to suppose that views and plans and projects you have. And as a friend, I shall just hint to you that if Elton is the man, I think it will be all labor in vain.
I am very much obliged to you. If I had my heart set on Mr. Elton's marrying Harriet, I would have been very kind to open my eyes. But at present I only want to keep Harriet to myself. I am done with matchmaking, indeed. I could have never hoped to equal my own doings at Randall's. I shall leave off while I am not.
Good morning to you. Let's restart this. I have an offer of marriage, and from a most unexceptional quarter. Oh my god. Did I read that right?
Restart. Delete that on mine.
Okay. Wait. Stop.
That Harriet will accept.
That's not it.
Go! Oh my god.
Straightforward and very well judged.
Can you
This is so long. You can't. No, this is gonna take
feeling of you all? Oh wait, no, screwed up. Go back.
to you.
Oh my god.